Hey students, we're on question number 5. Farmer Joe wants to create a rectangular enclosure for his 7 pigs, but they can't be together, so he needs individual pens. The first thing you want to do is draw a picture. So I need 7 pens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. He has 1,000 feet of fencing. What should the dimensions of each pen be in order to enclose the maximum area? So first of all, these sides are all equal, so they're all x's, because I don't know the length of them. And there's 8 x's. Okay, now I need the other 2 sides. I know I have 1,000 feet of fencing, so I got 1,000 minus those 8 x's, but I have 2 equal sides, so I have to divide by 2. So 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. 8 divided by 2 is minus 4x. So my area is x times 500 minus 4x. Okay, now we want to set up a graph. And the first thing I want to do is find the domain, and the domain are the x values. So if I set each parenthesis equal to 0, what do I get? So I know my parabola is going to look like this. I need to label it. So obviously that's 0. So if I solve the other side, I'm going to get 125. All right, so I'm going to pull up my calculator. We got to type in x times parentheses 500 minus 4x. Okay, don't forget that time symbol. For some reason, it doesn't work otherwise. All right, now I got to change my window. So menu, window settings, 0 to 125. Those are my x numbers. And then I'm going to go back and do a window again, and I'm going to do zoom fit, which is letter A. And it works every time. So now I want my maximum. Analyze graph, maximum. Swipe it from there to there, and label. So I have 62.5. Make sure that you are on float also. 15,625. Oh, look at that. All right, so the x value is exactly what I'm looking for. The y value is the area. I want the area of just one pen. So I want that area. So I know what x is. X is 61.5. So here we go, 61.5. And then what I want to do is find what the other side is, 500 minus 4 times 61.5. So we're going to do that. 4 times 62.5. So that whole side is 250, but how many pigs do I have? I have 7, so I have to divide that by 7. And then that's going to be the dimension. So 61.5 by, so 250 divided by 7 is 35.714. So those are the dimensions of one single pen. All right, let's check out number 6. Find the quotient in remainder. So I'm dividing. Remember that if x minus 3 is a root, or is a factor, that means 3 is a root. So again, coefficients 1, -6, 13, and -12. So it goes all in order. Bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So my remainder is x squared minus 3x plus 4. The last number is the remainder, so it's a remainder of 0, which actually means that 3 is a root. All right, let's check out the next question. Uh-oh, we got another word problem here. Tsunami, which is also a tidal wave, okay, is like an underwater earthquake. So a tsunami approaches the beach. The water level first goes down from the normal level. It rises an equal distance above the normal level and then returns back to sea level. The period is 15. So the first thing I want to do is see what information they give me. So the period is 15. The amplitude, it says, is 10. And the normal depth is 9. So that's the middle. okay? And we got to sketch a graph. So I'm going to have to move this a little bit. So I'm going to put 9 here. Amplitude is 10, which means this is 19, and then -1. Now, does that make sense? Yeah, it's going to go underwater, so that's 0. All right, so let me go back and read it again. It says that it's normal level, and then it goes down first. So I'm at the normal level, and then I'm going down, back to the middle, to the top, back to the middle. So it's going to look like that. All right, so what do we know? We know the period is 15. So in the middle of 15 is 7.5. Whoops. And then I got to cut 7.5 in half. 3.75 is right here. Whoops. Fix that. So that's 3.75. And then again, we're going to add them up, divide by 2. 11.25. Okay, so everything's labeled in my sketch. Now to write the equation, I need to find my other information. So it looks like C is at 0. My sine graph, this is the sine graph, starts at 0. And remember, word problems are in radians. The period is 15. So 2 pi over 15. All right, so what's my equation? Y equals, this is a negative sine graph, so -10 sine 2 pi over 15 x plus 9. Now here's the deal. If you were to type this in the calculator, it would look like that. Where the parentheses are, where the black is, that's where the parentheses would be if you wanted to graph it. What will be the depth of the water? That was part B. After 10 minutes, 10 is the x value. So we need to plug into the calculator. And again, you want to make sure that you're in radian mode. This is what it would look like plugged in. And also, you can check it out and make sure. Whoops, I'm going to go back and double check my settings. Oh, see, I'm in degrees. Good thing I checked. All right, make sure you're in radians, and then make sure you write make default so it stays. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to type that in, -10 sine fraction 2 pi over 15. And then times 10 plus 9. All right, 17.660. Does that answer make sense? Based on my graph, let's see. It does. Okay, between what two times are there no water at the pier? If there's no water at the pier, then it should be equal to 0. Now, here's the deal. In order, if my y value is a number and I need to plug it in, I need to find a cosine graph. We can only solve equations when it's a cosine graph. So what will change? I would have to start here. So my cosine graph would still be negative. So -10 cosine, 2 pi over 15, but then it would be x minus 3.75. That's why it's important to label your graph with all the critical points. So step 1, I'm going to subtract the 9. So -9 equals -10 cosine 2 pi over 15, x minus 3.75. We're going to divide by -10. So I get positive 9 over 10. Now, we want to work from the outside in. The x is in a parenthesis. We got to get inside the parenthesis. In order to do that, we got to take the outside. So we got to cosine inverse both sides. Whoops. So when I do cosine inverse, it's going to be cosine inverse of 9/10. So the cosines cancel, so I have cosine inverse of 9/10. Now, what else do I have to do? I have to get rid of this. So we're going to do the reciprocal, 15 over 2 pi. The 15 over 2 pi goes in front. So now that's gone. And we need a plus and minus in front. And then the last step is to add the 3.75. And now x will be alone. So we have to do this. And I want 2 answers, so I'm gonna start with a positive. Make sure you go over. So I have cosine inverse 9/10, and then outside the parenthesis plus 3.5. Okay, so I have 4.577, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of cheat. Oh, you know what? Wasn't this 3.75? Oh my goodness. Let me fix that. There we go. That's better. 4.827. All right, and then I'm going to go back to here and just put a negative in front because it's the same thing, just negative in front. And I'm going to get 2.673. And again, make sure your answer makes sense. Like, is that where it would touch at 0? Let's look back. Yeah, that makes sense. So those are my answers. If I needed to find more answers, remember, you just would keep adding the period. Okay, I think we have time to do one more for this video. All right, we got to find a bunch of information. We're going to factor the top first and then factor the bottom. So this part should be easy. All right, so what we cancel is going to give me the x value for the whole, which is -3. Then I'm going to take -3 and I'm going to plug it into what's left, which is x minus 4 over x minus 3. So if I plug -3 in, I am going to get 7 over 6. So that's the whole. All right, now I want to know the vertical asymptote. It's always x equals, and it's what is going to make it undefined, so it's x equals 3. Horizontal asymptote is always y equals, it's the coefficients. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Slant asymptote, none. That only happens if the higher power's on the top and the powers were the same, so there isn't one. And then the x-intercept is when y is 0. The y-intercept is when x is 0. And then we're going to sketch a graph. Okay, so let me go back up. When y is 0, that means the whole equation is 0. If the whole equation equals 0, that means the top is 0. So x would have to be 4. And then if x is 0, I'm going to get positive 4/3. All right, so I need to do a sketch. I got x equals 3. 1, 2, 3. There's my asymptote. Y equals 1. There's my asymptote. All right, and my let me do the whole first. -3, 1, 2, 3. 7/6 is going to be above the line, so it's going to be up there somewhere. 4, 0, here, let's put a color here. 4 zeros there, and then 0, 4/3 is above, so on the y-axis, so we're going to go here. That should be solid, like that. And then this side would go just like that. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and the rest of the questions will continue in the next video.